So, what does it really take to be a software engineer in today's world? We're about to crack that code. We're going to take what feels like a huge list of intimidating interview questions and turn it into a clear, logical journey, all the way from a single line of code to a massive system that runs across the globe. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to follow the natural path of how software actually gets built. We'll kick things off with the blueprint, then get into the craft of writing really good code. After that, we'll zoom out to system architecture, figure out how to get it all into the cloud, and finally, we'll tackle the big one, making sure it can handle tons of data and perform like a champ. First things first, before we even think about writing code, we've got to answer two fundamental questions. What does a software engineer actually do all day? And what's the roadmap they follow to make sure they're not just spinning their wheels? Yeah, at its heart, an engineer is a builder, a problem solver for the digital age. But it's so much more than just tapping away at a keyboard. It's about owning the entire life cycle of a system, from the day it's born all the way through to its retirement. And, to build these really complex systems, you can't just wing it. There's a method to the madness. Engineers follow a structured roadmap, and it's called the Software Development Lifecycle, or just SDLC for short. And here's that journey, laid out from start to finish. It all starts with an idea, the requirements. Then you design a blueprint, you build the thing, and you test it like crazy. Then you launch it. But it doesn't end there. The cycle continues with maintenance and improvements. This whole process, this is what separates professional engineering from just hacking a project together on a weekend. Okay, so let's zoom in on that development stage. See, there's a huge difference between writing code that just works and writing code that's truly built to last. This next part is all about that craft, writing clean, high-quality, professional code. The good news is you don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Engineers lean on a set of really timeless design principles called SOLID. You can think of these as the fundamental rules for building software that's strong and won't fall apart later. Every letter here stands for a really important rule. Let's just take S, the single responsibility principle. It's a simple idea. A piece of code should do one thing and do it really well. Why? Because when you need to change that one thing later, you're not going to accidentally break 10 other unrelated things. All 5 of these work together to stop your project from turning into that big, tangled mess that everyone's afraid to touch. Now, let's get a bit nerdy for a sec. This is a super important concept for understanding how your code actually runs on a computer. A process is like a whole program running. Think of your web browser. It's got its own protected space and memory. A thread, on the other hand, is like a single tab inside that browser. You can have lots of threads running inside one process, and because they share resources, they're way more efficient. All right, let's pull the camera way back. We've been looking at the bricks, the individual lines of code. Now let's talk about the design of the entire building. We're talking about architecture, the big picture blueprint for the whole application. And pretty much right away, teams have to make a huge decision. It's one of the biggest debates in software today. Do you build your application as one giant single unit, or do you break it up into a bunch of tiny, independent pieces? I love this comparison because it lays out the trade-offs so clearly. A monolith is like one giant kitchen. Everything's in one place, which makes it simple to get started. But man, can it get messy and chaotic as you grow. Microservices, on the other hand, are like a modern food court. You've got lots of small, independent stalls. It's definitely more complex to set up that food court, but each stall can grow and change on its own without affecting the others. So if you go with the food court model, how do all those stalls talk to each other, right? How does the taco stand tell the main cashier about an order? They need a standard language. And in the software world, that's what a REST API is. It's the set of rules that lets all these different independent services communicate and work together like a well-oiled machine. Okay, so you've written some amazing code. You've designed a brilliant architecture. But right now, all of that genius is just sitting on your laptop. The next big question is, how do we get it from your machine out to the millions of people who are going to use it? Thankfully, these days, that journey isn't some scary manual process. It's a super slick, 4-step automated pipeline. You check your code into Git, then an automation server kicks off to build and test it, then you package it all up, and finally you orchestrate its release. The whole point of all this automation? To move fast without breaking things. Now this right here, this was a total game changer for the industry. It's called containerization, and the most popular tool is Docker. The best analogy is a shipping container. You pack your application and everything it could possibly need to run inside the standard box,
And the magic is, that box will run the exact same way anywhere, on your laptop, on a test server, in the cloud, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so managing one container is pretty easy. But what happens when you're operating at a massive scale and you have thousands or even millions of these containers? Well, you need a system to manage all of them. That's Kubernetes. Think of it like the master controller of a huge shipping port, telling every container where to go, making more when traffic gets heavy, and replacing any that break. It orchestrates the entire fleet. All right, our app is built, it's deployed, it's out in the wild. We're not done yet. For any app to actually be useful, it's got to do two things incredibly well. It has to handle data with 100% reliability, and it absolutely cannot fall over when it gets put under pressure. So now we're talking databases and scaling. When it comes to data, especially really important stuff like a bank transfer, you just can't afford to mess it up. To make sure data is never, ever corrupted, every database transaction has to follow this strict set of guarantees called ACID. It's what ensures a transaction is all or nothing, and that your data is always left in a safe, consistent state, even if the power goes out. So let's imagine the best-case scenario. Your app is a huge hit. It goes viral overnight. It's a great problem to have, right? But now your system is getting hammered by a massive wave of traffic from millions of users all at once. How do you keep the lights on? To handle that tidal wave of traffic, you've basically got two choices. You can scale up, which is like taking your one server and turning it into a giant, expensive supercomputer, or you can scale out by just adding lots more smaller, cheaper servers to the group. And while both have their place, that ability to scale out is really the secret sauce behind almost all modern cloud-based applications. And that brings us right back to where we started. As you can see, the world of a software engineer is just vast. It covers this incredible spectrum from the microscopic details of a single principle in one line of code all the way up to the 30,000-foot view of designing a global high-performance system.
So after all of this, what's the real answer to that big interview question? What makes a great engineer? Well, I think this quote just nails it. It's the ability to pull all of these different skills together, to write great code, to understand the big picture, and to build things that are reliable, no matter how big they get.
You know, when you look at this whole journey, it's easy to see it as just a technical process. But it's really a story of constant problem solving, of creativity, and of collaboration. It's a powerful reminder that behind every amazing piece of technology, there are human minds working together. Which it leaves us with one final big question. If we look past all the code, what's the single most important human skill that's going to build our future?